Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to another Who's the Deadbeat session. Happy Friday. Um, y'all know what we do here. We tell real life stories based around parental alienation. These mothers, these fathers that come up here, everything is real. So it's real. So make sure you guys be mindful of the comments and the stuff that y'all leave when you comment on about someone's life. And
Who's a deadbeat is not liable or reliable for any litigations or court proceedings to follow thereafter the interview. If you're new to our channel, thank you for joining us.
yes.
Welcome. Please like, share, and subscribe. We're trying to reach uh maybe I say by the end of this month, 2,000 subs.
Oh, we're gonna
So
be there for that.
please again like, share, and subscribe. So more people can, hear the stories of the guests that we have to raise awareness on forced alienation.
Yeah, we trying to get the word out there, man. We trying to let fathers, tell a story. It's a lot of stories out here that's not being told, and it's a lot of stuff that's going on behind the scenes. And so I advise if you don't have kids to really be paying close attention to these men because they are really being very resourceful. Is that the right word? Yeah, to help you guys out. And and that's about it. We finna go hop right into it. No videos come down. Who's the deadbeat? Who we got? Ethan. We got Ethan. Finna bring you to the stage. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, it's another day in paradise. Thanks for having me on here.
Oh,
Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
where you calling from?
Calling in from Colorado Springs tonight.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
How many kids do you have?
I've got two beautiful daughters.
All right, is that with the same woman?
Yeah, same woman. It's the only kids I have.
Okay. Now, was it a situationship, relationship? Was you guys married?
Oh no, we were fully committed. It was a full marriage.
Okay.
How
Yeah.
long?
Oh, good Lord. I think it was like five years, just about. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So get us to the. How did you guys meet? Just fill us in
Um.
with that.
So I was a student in Clarksville, Tennessee, and I happened to run into her in one of my classes. And she would frequently visit me at the coffee shop that I was working at, and we started dating and talking. Um, and we really hit it off. It was fantastic, no complaints. Um, and then we discovered that she was pregnant. So my family was very traditional in the sense. So we went on ahead and said, "Hey, I'm going to be there this whole time. We're going to go ahead and get married for the right reasons here." So we went on ahead and we made sure that we went through some premarital, some therapy to make sure that we were making the right choice. We got married, and it was pretty glorious. Shortly after we got married, we had our second child.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how old are the kids?
Oh, my daughters are 10 and 9, going on about 16.
So you're being alienated from both of them?
Yes.
So
How long has it been?
yeah.
I haven't seen the last time I saw them was in December for right after Christmas for the New Year holiday.
And how long was it before that? Was it a long period of
Uh,
time or?
that was before that was I got to see them for Thanksgiving, and before that was June. I got 2 weeks in the summer.
Okay, so let's take a step back. You pretty much said that from the start, it seemed like you guys were okay. It was, you used the term
Oh,
glorious, which no man on this platform has ever said that in regards to the relationship that they have from, the past that's causing us to have this interview. But get us to what happened. How did you
oh,
guys split?
Hold on,
of
before you go,
course.
I just want to piggyback off what my wife
Yeah.
said. So, because a lot of people like to say, you should have chose better, right? And I feel like you did everything possible. Like you went to y'all went to counseling, y'all went, y'all did everything right and did the work. So
And the traditional way, right?
right.
That people say
Right.
that it should work, right? You became pregnant, so you chose to get married, which is commendable. A lot of men don't just do that. That's because a woman is pregnant. Then you guys did the premarital counseling, which is the precursor for a healthy and happy marriage, right?
Exactly. So
Um. So yeah, get us to what went
couldn't have
what.
chose
Oh,
no
no,
better
yeah,
than that.
to where it gets bad.
Yeah, who
Um,
who chose to end it and why?
yeah. So I was in the army. I was in the infantry, and while I was on tour, there was some extracurricular activities going on in my house that I found out about mid-tour.
Infidelity.
Yes, amongst other activities. Um,
Okay.
some drug usage, but I can't speculate because I physically wasn't there.
Okay.
Um, so when I came back, we had a come to Jesus moment of these things are going to stop. We're building a life for these two children. They are the focal point. You and I, as adults, need to grow up and resolve this. Um, Shortly after the deployment, or after I came back, I went through selection. I came down on orders to go to Korea. When that happened, her whole world crumbled. The idea of having to move away from her family, being somewhere that she wasn't familiar with, because this individual had never left the city of Clarksville, Tennessee,
Mm,
her
Mm,
entire life. Her parents very isolated her to that region.
okay.
So that's where we started having a lot of rifts because I had orders to go. I didn't have a choice, and I
mm,
didn't want to abandon my kids and her.
mm,
Um, Shortly after that is when I learned, hey, I've got some injuries that have become prevalent. I can't push them off anymore. I can't hide them. I'm going to be medically discharged.
Okay.
As soon as I got that information and I started planning for the next stages of our life, all hell broke loose because and it was made apparent to me that I was seen as I'm a provider. There was fear that I couldn't provide anymore. So she sought another man or multiple men who could provide.
Mm,
And that's where there was a lot of yelling and arguing. And I told my command about it. I said, hey, I've only got like 6 months left. And they said, record everything. Whatever you do, turn on your phone and record it. And that's what I did. So those interactions that you see in those videos, they're not prompted. It's I've come home from work or we're talking and there's an explosion.
mm,
So at that point in time, my command said, "Hey, we know you love your kids, you take care of your kids, but you need to move to the barracks for a couple days just to let her cool off so we don't have something bad happen." That time passed. I went back to the home. She wasn't supposed to be there. She showed up anyways. And on that night, that's when I reported her to the police for the first time. As soon as that happened, um, she did leave. I had full custody of the kids. I finished out my contract with the army, and we divorced shortly after I was retired. Um, and I thought everything was going to be fine after that. You've made your choices. You go about your life. I've got the girls. Now let's negotiate. How do we both stay together for them in separate homes?
mm-hmm.
And
So I
yes.
got, I got, I got, I got one question. Well, first I want to say, thanks for your service.
Oh, thanks for the support.
thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So, how, like, far as the time frame, you said, so
Mhm.
was this like towards the 5 year mark or?
Yes. Yeah. So this was in 2018 is when all the problems occurred. And
Okay,
then the start of 2019 is when the divorce was finalized. But we had been separated for roughly 8 months at that point.
okay. And was your kids around any of these activities that you said was going on in your home?
I firmly believe that they were.
Mm,
Because you said that she didn't have any family or any. I mean, she probably developed friendships over time being at the new location, but who would she could have had to support her, with watching the kids and everything?
So her family did live right outside the town that we were in, and they fully supported her. They paid all her bills. They made sure she was taken care of. They made sure the kids were taken care of, which I was very grateful for.
Okay.
But it became a dependency issue.
Mm-hmm.
which at that point, I realized I have to, uh, excuse me, I've got to provide for myself and my kids. And now she doesn't have to,
Right.
which, yeah. So,
Yeah, so okay, because I guess because you mentioned that caused, all hell broke loose due to the relocating and things like that. I was just wondering over time, did it get better? But it seemed to have worsened. So
yes.
how did you end up being the custodial parent?
So after DCS got involved for the domestic violence, they arrested her. They awarded me full custody of the kids. She was to have no contact until everything was resolved. On
Okay.
top of that, it was uncovered that her father also had domestic violence and DCS involvement. So then DCS had to go through the process of vetting him as well.
And
So
this was
during
still on base, right? All of this took place on base?
we lived right off of base.
Off the base, okay.
Yeah,
But
but
still, while you were still not
yes,
medically discharged, so to speak.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was still in. So I still had to deal with the civil police department and their protocol, and then also all the army laws and their procedures.
That's why I asked. That's
Yeah,
exactly why I asked, because we do know that the Army legal system is quite different than civilians system,
very,
right?
very different.
So yeah, because you mentioned that you were part of the service, it's like this is new. We haven't had anybody
at all.
speak on the differences in terms of how it works with family law, right? When you are, so to speak, part of armed forces or whatever, it's not the same as just a typical court proceeding, in the civilian
Yes,
way. And so, and then you want custody. So I just thought that was interesting. But you said like your um command gave you to record,
That was great.
do everything, and I'm
yeah,
I'm assuming that was part of the evidence that you showed to lead up to you, winning custody.
correct. And so, kind of how the when you have the armed forces legal system, they can work with the local police department and make
Right.
recommendations. And so
Okay.
that was the recommendation they made was, look, you got to investigate her. We hope nothing's wrong with her, but until then, he still has to report every day. We can help him take care of those kids. We can take him, into our family and do so. So that's what we did. Um, and then when I got out, our divorce was finalized and we had a 50-50 split in custody, week on, week off. And at this point in time, I was really rooting for her because she had shown a lot of growth. She had moved into a small home that her boss had purchased for her. And I thought this is going to be the greatest, co-parenting relationship ever. And it wasn't until a few months after that that I got my first lawsuit. And this is where kind of like her parents were in her head about how things need to be. And on the other side, she wasn't content with her life.
Mm.
And I'm speaking, I can't put words in her mouth, but I know that she went from a certain standard of living to having to do all of it on her own, and it was less, and that's perfectly fine.
Right.
Uh, so I got my first lawsuit, and so then it was case after case
Which
after
was
case.
what was the lawsuit?
Yeah.
Just trying to modify
Oh,
custody,
sorry.
or
Yeah, so there was she wanted to take a percentage of my benefits, then she wanted alimony, then she wanted to increase child support, then she wanted more parenting time. Then we went back
But
to
how
can
she,
you do that after a divorce is final? You can come back
um
and ask
in
for
this
more,
oh
or
yeah.
or
Yeah,
you
in the
have up
state.
to I think you have up to a
certain
certain
time
amount of
frame?
years before.
Correct. And
Okay.
then
Yeah.
in the state of Tennessee,
Don't you
you
get
could
no ideas in case you try to knowledge this play.
yeah, in the
No,
state of
it's a
Tennessee,
death
you
do us
can
part. Yeah.
I know. Um, so yeah, she found her father paid for a very good attorney, which
Mhm.
was funny because I coached soccer for a little bit and I actually coached this attorney's son. And so he knew me. So it was a
What a
little weird.
conflict of interest.
I, I know. But he was a very good attorney and he found every loophole to get anything in front of a judge.
Okay.
And with the backing of her family, um, And with me being freshly retired, I wasn't secure in any employment. I was still
Mhm.
getting ready to go back to college. It drained me. It drained every penny that I had.
Yeah.
So I started losing, tiny little things here and there. And we get to the point where it's no longer going to be 50-50. Now she's going to have the kids, and I would have them on weekends. And what we're going through this, I provided the evidence that I've posted on TikTok to the judge. And this judge, he didn't care. He, in the court recordings, he said, I don't want to watch any more of this. I'm making a ruling. We're done.
Wow.
And this same judge, about 12 months after that, was removed from the bench because he got caught taking bribes and doing some other shady stuff. But it affected my case while
Yes.
he was in.
Wow.
So
Um,
with that being said, did they like revisit or review previous cases that the judge had ruled over due to the circumstances of him being involved with bribery and things like that? You couldn't like bring it up to the courts or ask for like an appeal or anything because at that
yes,
point,
I was
he
able
wasn't
to
making
go
good
in.
rulings.
I was able to go in and appeal a few things, but I wasn't allowed to appeal all of it.
Okay.
And Tennessee uses a 15-point system. So they give you points based on criteria for the kids.
Okay.
And at this point, we were both still in Clarksville, Tennessee. She got pregnant by a music producer. She was living in her parents' basement. He would not allow her or my children to move to Nashville. So she was raising the three kids in her parents' basement, you know, hitting me with child support increases every month.
Three
Uh,
kids. She had another child.
she did, yeah. Shortly after our separation was final, she got pregnant by a music producer,
Mm.
and she said, "Hey, my first husband took me in, and he said, 'Nah, you're not coming here. I've got kids in other states that I don't even see. I don't want you here.'" And so I tried to befriend him and say, "Hey, look, we're all going to be one family now.
Right.
Let's work on this. We can find a solution." He wanted nothing to do with me, and that's fine. That's his choice.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, so she did move into her parents' basement. She had the kid, and it was about 2 years after. So we're looking at like 2022 ish. The music producer finally said, "All right, fine. You guys can move into my house, but my studio is my house." So we're talking shared bathrooms, shared rooms. The girls aren't going to have all the stuff that they had originally.
Right.
So
So
so how was that like? You said they rewarded you full custody at first, right?
yes,
So
when
how
we
was that like going from full custody to a weekend?
it was absolutely devastating. It crushed me. I mean, there were times where my life is pointless. There's no reason to go on. Um,
So how
and
did you
it's
cope with how did you cope with that? Like,
I was the very first night. I'll be candid with you. The first night I sat there and I did not want to go on. I just not seeing my kids. It was my life was going to be over. And I was sitting there, and I'm an avid goer of the gym, and I said, I'm going to get one more gym workout in. I went to the gym and I ran into a guy that I had served with, and we talked about it. And then I made it to the next day. And then I made it to the next day. And I just kept going and pushing and finding new things to entertain my time. And what I found that I started doing was I was doing things to benefit my kids. I'm working on my second master's. I I compete in strongman events. Uh, I work for a technology company. We help people. So I taught physics not because I was interested in physics, but because I wanted to learn how to teach so I could teach my kids.
okay,
And I found that I started finding purpose in becoming a better person for them.
okay, yeah.
The key
Yeah,
thing that I heard you say was you literally took it one day at a time. And
yeah,
that's what we always encourage, parents that experience this type of thing to do. Because, when you're sitting in this, it seems like it's the end all. But the reality is, tomorrow can be different, and it
Yes.
just doesn't feel that way while you're going through it, but you just got to take it one day at a time. You got to get through each day, and you name some great ways to occupy that time. And that's what we tell fathers: you have to pour back into you so that you can benefit, for your children. So thank you for being transparent about that part, because that's something that a lot of people struggle with, why they just feel like giving up, because you go from being the custodial day-to-day parent to having that strict from you, and your life surrounds around your kids, and so now it's like, what do?
So
So
how long did you have custody before we jump back into them going with the
Oh,
boyfriend?
it was about 8 solid months.
Okay.
okay.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's
I
unbelievable.
if you don't mind sharing, maybe not everything, but what was at least one legal basis that you think that they switched custody on, even if it wasn't,
Oh,
accurate, because we know the judge was taking bribes, but what was the legal standpoints?
so she had, like I said, she had a very good attorney, and he was able to somehow get a hold of my military records and
Okay.
my medical disability records and my
Okay.
VA records. And Um, so they went in and they were able to nitpick certain words that the
Mm.
Army had used or the VA had used and said, oh, he saw combat, so he's got PTSD. And
Mm,
with this, we can't trust this or that. Oh, he has to take this certain medication. Oh, he's got injuries to his legs, so he's not as mobile as he could be. They were able to
okay.
nitpick, and we fought it tooth and nail. But in the end, the judge was like, oh man, I got to award points to the mom because obviously this guy's jacked up.
Yeah. They
So that's
used
what
it
the
against you,
foundation.
and
Yeah.
I didn't want to assume, because what people, anybody that's coming from the armed forces, they always like to put a label. It's all these stereotypes just because you did serve, right? And so I was wondering what would it be that they tried to use against you, but people always tend to go to the mental aspect of things and injuries, all the things that we know that can occur when you do serve in the armed forces. So thank you for sharing that, because that had to be heartbreaking for you,
Uh,
knowing that you were capable of being
Right.
active father for your children, and none of those things got in the way of that for 8 months.
okay, yeah. So let me ask you this. Before we get to that part of them actually going there, get it. Can you tell us? Can you explain the story of the video with the chair?
Oh, yes, yes. So that was the day that I returned to the home after being in the barracks. I was ordered by my command, go to the house, get all of your important documents. We're gonna make sure we're gonna send our guys from the platoon to your house to make sure that she's not there. You're gonna come by afterward, grab your important documents, report back to the battalion commander, and we're gonna solve this problem because we don't want you to leave and we don't want anything bad to happen to either of you. Well, I got to the house. I started collecting my items, and she barges through the door. I don't know I have a feeling of who told her that we were there. It was one of the guys that I was serving with that she had some extracurricular activities with.
Wow.
Um, but she showed up. And when she saw me collecting important documents to me, she exploded. And that's where she's going through, and you see, like, she throws a basket, she hit me in the face, and she's complaining about this chair. We had moved the chair to the barracks because it was an emergency room and there wasn't a bed in the barracks. So I needed something to sleep on, and I wasn't going to take the whole bed upstairs. So
Yeah.
I took the chair. I was just going to sleep on that. It was only for like 3 nights. Um, so she went absolutely ballistic over the fact that the chair was gone.
Mm. Yeah. That video was
That's
crazy.
crazy.
And so I got a question about another video. What about the
Yeah.
video where she's um threatening your girlfriend? You had a girlfriend at the time, right? at one
Uh,
point?
so yeah, I've had a girlfriend before, but in that video, we were headed to a strongman competition, and the female in the vehicle, she was someone that I trained with, and so we were going to the competition. That's where we were trying to leave. And the story behind that is my daughter she wasn't sick, but she was taking some medications, and um, when I went to grab them after school to take them, we were going to go on this fun trip and go to daddy's competition. I realized the medication was missing. So I called their mom up. Hey, we've got to get on the road. Can I please come by and pick it? Leave it in your mailbox. We don't have to interact. And she said, no, um, I'll bring it to you. So we pulled over. We let her know where we were. She showed up. And the moment that she saw that there was a female present, that's where she got very vulgar, very aggressive.
Yeah, man, because that was kind of weird for her to open your lady friend's car door. Like,
Yeah, yeah. It was very odd. But obviously, she saw that there was someone sitting there. I don't know why she went to that door. I mean, we know why, but yeah, it just
but
unfolded,
why?
and
But why would she be feeling any type of way if
She
she
had a significant
right?
other
She
around the kids. What's the difference?
and she left you like
yeah.
right.
I think it's kind of like the rules for thee, but not for me. She sent
I
me
like
messages
that.
before. She's told me that the children are not my biological children. She's told me that she's got all these men in her life, things like that, and that's great. You do you.
Have
Um,
you ever had the children tested?
I haven't, and
You probably
I
don't
never
want to, right?
I never will. And if a judge ordered me to, I of course I would. And if
Hmm.
it said they're not, they're my
They
kids.
still would be.
They're my babies.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. That's
Man,
understood.
that's
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 understood. But I just, women, when it gets to these nasty levels and these bitter tactics, sometimes women will say that just to be hurtful. But then based on the behavior and the history,
it's yeah.
sometimes you gotta say, but it's totally up to you, and we respect that decision to not want to have them tested.
So how did that situation turn out? I know I'm quite sure your lady friend wanted to, really
Respond,
respond, but you
react.
have
Yeah.
your kids in the vehicle. Like, how did your kids react?
It was their reaction was their normal reaction. It was why does they were young, so articulation was a little hard, but it was why is mom mad? Why is or they would say things like we are scared, and it would be all right. On that in that particular event, we got on the interstate. We drove about a mile down the road. We got off the interstate, and it was just I got in the back seat, and we just sat, and it was just okay. It's okay. You're gonna be all right. I'm here. Your mom, she must have just been having a bad day. It was we never speak ill of their mother, and we never say things that could hurt feelings. That's kind of like the rule with them.
But I'm quite
But
sure she speak bad of you in front of them, correct?
my daughter has sent me text messages now that they're a little older, asking, like, well, why did this happen? Or mom said this. And I have to just have, she's 10. So we can have a certain level of conversation,
Yeah, I can get that.
but it's just like, hey, you don't know everything, honey. But one day when you're older, you will. But right
Kudos to
now,
you. Kudos to you for being. I'm not sure how much level of education you have on parental alienation, or if it's just good values like your upbringing and you were just raised a certain way. But to go through this type of thing, it's very easy to do the things that we shouldn't do just because it's so full of emotion, and people don't understand the damage that it really truly does to their children. And it seems
Hmm.
like you're very present and very informed in terms of how to protect them. And so that's very commendable because we don't get people up here that often that understand that part of things, no matter what is being done to them, no matter how stressful and nasty and bad the separation is, the kids somehow still end up getting the short end of the stick on both ends of the
Yeah.
stick. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that for you to
Thank you.
know that you did a great job even in that moment. And this is what we encourage people to do because it's hard for us as well. When you're steady under attack, sometimes you can slip up, and not the things that we know the do's and don'ts of, but just them seeing a certain level of emotion that can be confusing for them. So
Yeah.
that's
Well,
great that you were able to do that and in the moment in such a heated exchange. Maybe it comes from you being trained for combat because we
Right.
are the ones that don't have no level of
Yeah. This
understanding how to handle those type of
this
things.
is nothing compared to that, right?
Right.
yeah, no, it's a there's a lot of emotional training, but no one is without sin. I have made tons of mistakes as a father, as a husband, and as a co-parent. But
Yeah.
I make it a point that my mistakes are owned, and my mistakes that impact my kids only impact my kids. Sometimes I say the wrong thing, or we're roughhousing and playing, or sometimes I push them a little too hard. We climbed an 11,000-foot mountain in the middle of winter, and maybe they just weren't ready for it, but we did it. We overcame it.
So this is
You know,
this is the question that I have for you. This is what a lot of people struggle at because a lot of people think parental alienation is just you not being able to see your kids.
Like withholding the children.
Yeah,
right.
you're right. So like I seen in the beginning of this interview, you said that you last seen your kid in December, and some might say, well, how is he being alienated? He still get to see his kid, right? So, but a lot of people don't even understand the fact of you still have to deal with the things that your kids is hearing about you and the things that she's telling your kids. So how do you combat that? Like, how do you deal with that situation?
I believe in a very blunt policy with my kids. So from the time we separated and until now, it's always, you can tell me anything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to process it, and we're going to have a conversation. I may not like what you said, and I might really love it, but we're going to process it and we're going to talk about it. And in the beginning, it was very rough. But now, how I combat those issues is my daughter comes to me and they feel safe now to just, hey, dad, something's going on, something's wrong. I need your help. All right, I'm here for you. I'm 1,200 miles away. What can I do to help? And then, I'll give you a good example. Um, I was talking with my daughter about Christmas, and the only thing that she wanted was a hug. And I said, all right, well, I'm 1,200 miles away. What are we going to do? She said, I'm going to ask Santa for a hug. So on Christmas Day, I drove to Denver. I got on an airplane. I flew to their house, showed up, gave them a hug before I was told to get off the property. And I flew back to Colorado the same day. So, I mean, I flew 2,400 miles for 5 minutes just to hug my daughter. But you're right. Alienation is not just, not seeing them. It could be, you don't get to see them ever. Like for me, it's like I don't get phone calls. Like I'll set up a scheduled time. Even the judge has said, hey, you got to do this. And it might be an hour late. It might not happen. When we do talk, if we start talking about things that might be controversial, all of a sudden dinner's ready and they have to go. So their
Mhm.
mother listens in on the conversations and kind of like
Uh,
That's another
critiques
yeah,
it.
no
that's
no.
not, yeah.
Yeah, that's another
Yeah.
no no.
But yeah,
How would you sum up their relationship with their mom? What is your true gut feeling about what it's like for them in their household?
um, resentment. Um, they live in it's about 1,200 square feet, and part of the house is a music studio. And then they have their little brother, and then they have mom and the he's not a
Guy.
step
The
the
guy.
guy. So when they're here and they're telling me about their life, there's a lot of comments about, well, we don't have space. We share a room, but our brother gets whatever he wants. We have these rules and chores, but he gets to do whatever he wants. So to me, it's kind of like, okay, mom and guy and baby. And then there's the two kids that you made with this guy. And he's just a check. so they're treated as such.
So
Um,
let me ask you this. When she's saying certain things about you to them, do they fight against it or always have something to say, or do they just listen to what mom say and play the
um,
role?
my youngest daughter is a daddy's boy through and through. She's the one that fights, and she may not even say the right words or be correct, but she is going to die on that hill. It is she'll call
So,
me, on the phone and just be like, "Mom said this, and I wasn't going to listen to it, and I came back and I was like, "Oh, honey, those aren't even the right words to use."
Right,
Like, but
right.
you
I'm
be
so
trying to
proud of you
tell
for
them,
standing
but
up.
Yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
gotta try to meet them on their little levels so that they can understand. But
Oh yeah.
the elephant is definitely in the room. Like it's very clear that she knows something is wrong with this situation.
Yes.
so
And we recently
do she experience any physical abuse because of that?
um I did ask my daughters about that, and they told me that they don't get spanked or anything, but they get yelled at for going against the grain, for trying to think outside the box, especially when they say, well, when we're at dad's, then they get yelled at. And
Yeah,
I've been
yeah,
told about the tyrannical rules that this guy has in his house. And it eats me alive. I'll never
yeah,
say anything about it to them, but
yeah.
it kills me that they can't just be themselves.
How do they feel about him?
They do not like him. They think that he's a
Well,
very
that's not
funny guy.
surprising.
Yeah, they think he's funny, but they don't like the living part
Yeah,
with him. And it's very much like when they're here, they don't want to go. And I'm sure you guys have interviewed tons of people. The parent says, they want to be with me. Getting my kids on a plane is an act of God. It is a full-blown meltdown. Please don't make me go back. And it rips my heart out every single time, because if I don't abide by this parenting plan to the T, I can guarantee you I will get a motion tomorrow.
That's great advice. I'm glad
and
you
you're
said that.
saying, the people that we've interviewed, no, this is our life. Like with us having custody, we still experience these same issues. So
Oh
Yes.
we live
wow.
it every single day. We're not just interviewing because we think parental alienation is a hot topic that we want to raise awareness on.
No,
This is our lives.
we've
We
been through it.
fought blood, hand, teeth, and nail and sweat and tears for 5 years, and then
Whew.
we became custodial parents. But it doesn't stop there. It
Mm-mm.
doesn't
Yeah.
stop there. And we have to follow the court order, but it doesn't stop there.
It doesn't stop.
No.
Yeah, it's rough. Okay, so I guess now you done caught us back up with them actually living there with them. So
And speaking on it, and
okay, no, I do have another question. I
Yeah.
did my homework because some of this stuff that I had nothing, I have no clue of knowing about. Right?
Yeah.
All right, this is the $1 million question. Right? You have posted a video of someone running someone off the road. So please, I didn't know who it was. So please tell me that wasn't her trying to run you off the road.
That was not her, but it was
Okay.
someone affiliated with her.
Wow.
with that much
Yeah.
involvement that they would go that far.
Yes.
So can you explain that story, please?
Oh,
Because
okay.
that is like the craziest thing I ever seen in dealing with parental alienation, as far as someone we interviewing. Like no one
and,
have
and,
ever
and
said
third
that.
party involvement, because
Yes.
we do talk about enablers on this platform a lot. We talk about, I mean, who's the deadbeat? Like deadbeats can be anybody involved, not just the other parent, but anybody
Yes.
that's a part of their circle
Yes.
that's enabling their behavior and being a part of the chaos. So yeah.
No, because nobody cares about the best interest of the kid. They always say it take a village, but when it's time for the village to step up, they never do. They just allow this person to do this crazy stuff. So
Oh yeah.
can we talk about that,
Fill us
please?
in
Oh
on that.
yeah. I was driving back from Nashville to Clarksville, and um I did not know this person from Adam. It was just a Jeep. And I was in front of the Jeep and we're just going the speed limit. And there's a semi truck. I passed the semi truck and this Jeep, as I'm passing the semi truck, well, sorry, before I get to the front of the semi truck, the Jeep I mean, the lights are going off, it honking, going crazy. And I'm looking around like, okay, there's a deer, someone's been in an accident, something horrible is happening. They're getting my attention. And then I look to my left and my right, and there's nothing going on. So when I get in front of the semi, I'll just get over and let them pass. And as I got in front of the semi, I was in a lifted truck. So it takes me a while to look over and get over. They whipped over, drove up next to me, hit their brakes, and then just full turn, smack right into me to put me into that was part of the road where there wasn't a guardrail. It was just an open ditch. And because my lifted truck, it saved me because they hit the front of my vehicle, spun around the front, went into the ditch and rolled.
Yes,
And
that's
um,
unbelievable.
the state trooper showed up and I couldn't believe it. I was sitting there in my truck, calm and collected, all my documents. The first thing he says to me is, "This looks like a road rage incident. One of you's going to jail." And I sat there fearful of my life because I was, what about my kids? And thank goodness that semi truck pulled over and ran across the interstate to the state trooper and said, "I've got it on film. He didn't do anything wrong." So
Wow.
the state trooper, after they made sure that she was safe and she wasn't hurt and everything, they told me to go about my business. And that was
When
it.
So
was this?
Do what?
When was this?
Oh, this was in oh goodness, 2021.
so so this was years after y'all was split up.
Yep.
So let me get this straight. So who was this person to her?
This was a colleague. Either they worked together or they were in school together, but they knew each other through one of those entities. I had never met this person before. No idea. She worked in the medical field as well. So
So what did she get charged with?
um, I followed up with the state troopers to find out everything, and come to find out, she didn't get charged.
Wow, she tried to
Yeah.
take your life.
Yep.
So were
No,
you the
no
one that
charge.
was supposed to pursue that?
Do what?
Were you the one that was supposed to pursue that?
Yes, and I did everything that they asked me to do, and they said that after they did their investigation, that they weren't going to charge her with anything. But I did get a report that she had lost her insurance, and she would not be able to drive for a couple months. So like a
How?
suspended
Like I don't
license.
understand. She purposely tried to run you off the road, and it's caught on camera. Like I don't understand. Like how it should have been a serious charge behind that. Because
I agree.
if you had not gained control, you would have been in the ditch, and there's no telling what would have happened at that point.
No, but that's the nothing against Tennessee, but that's kind of their legal system. The cases that should be heard and have a punishment just get thrown out, and the ones that are very petty issues, those are the ones that serve the maximum sentence. So,
Wow.
That's
like
unbelievable.
there's
So to this day, is that a fear factor for you?
it's yes. I have sought counsel in the state of Colorado. We've tried all kinds of things, and Tennessee will not relinquish any of the case files or allow it to be heard outside of the state. And on top of that, because my children moved to a new county, Tennessee still holds all of our hearings in the county that we used to live in.
So they haven't like, well, I guess jurisdiction is really mainly about the state, right? Not counties.
Nah, it go deep into the county.
So
Yeah.
they will switch jurisdiction to a different county, even though it's in the same state.
I had to ask that because my kids now live in a new county, if we could just move the case there, maybe get a new judge. And the current judge said, "No, I'm going to keep this case. I'm not going to let it go." And that was the end of it.
What's the distance?
It's about 50 miles.
Yeah, that's not a hop, skip, and a jump to
But this
court if you need to
the
go.
new chancellor that we have, he's fantastic. He has put her in her place multiple times. He's made very blunt statements to her about her behavior.
Hmm.
But the only thing that I don't see out of it is repercussion. It's always a verbal warning.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
we hear that a lot. We've heard some horror stories about Tennessee before, but nothing quite like yours. Like
Yeah.
yours is the official, certified, sealed, signed, sealed, and delivered. Yeah, stay out of Tennessee.
Yeah.
Sure.
If I could share with you, there's a video I put out there where I put it on camera that she attempted to suffocate me in my sleep, and
what?
I went yes. And so I went outside and I recorded the whole thing, and it was just like, hey, I want to talk about this. Why would you do it? She says, because I don't like you. I said, so suffocating me is the best option. To which she says, have you ever seen Snapped? And then I asked her, well, if you get mad again, am I going to get stabbed? And she said, maybe. This went in front of the original judge. And that man said, you're you're a combat infantryman. There's no reason you couldn't have defended yourself in this situation.
Wow.
And it was thrown out completely.
Wow.
Yeah.
This woman just admitted
Basically,
to
threatened.
attempt murder.
Yeah, she attempted it and
And
she
nothing
threatened
happened.
your life. And even, it's just, this is like clear cut um
That's unbelievable.
favoritism
Yeah.
or
Yeah, it's
favorism.
definitely biased.
Favoritism from the court system. I can't even think. My words are jumbled,
That's
mumble jumbled.
unbelievable.
But
Yeah.
That is
how do I mean? So is that why you are 1,200 miles away?
No, when she moved to Nashville, she moved just enough miles that it didn't trigger a reconstruction of the parenting plan.
Mm,
So I was, just SOL. I had to deal with everything and the fact that they don't live near me anymore. I was teaching at the time and I was working on my first master's. That came to a conclusion. I said, hey, I'm going to move to Nashville to be near my kids. And I started looking for jobs. And then my child support went up. And I had to look for jobs that paid even more. And I just couldn't find anything.
mm,
So I ended up moving a little bit a ways from Nashville in a small town called Jackson. And I built myself up. I started to generate wealth and started to fight the good fight. I was driving 10 hours a weekend to see my kids. And that's when there came the critical moment of, if I want to be there for my kids long term, make sure that they've got college taken care of, vehicles, make sure that they have a good life, I have to make some sacrifices. And I got a phone call to come out to Colorado, and I took it because I looked at it as, if I continue living in these Tennessee wages, my kids will hang out, but we'll never be able to go on vacation. We'll never, your college is not secured. I don't think I could afford you a car. But if I take a small sacrifice and build this future for you, then I can make sure that when I die, I did everything I could to give you the best life possible.
mm,
And
yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
But I guess the question I want to ask is, if in the future you find out that there was some things going on that you possibly missed in terms of how they were being treated in the house, if you could have done more, do you think that would be
oh,
something that you will regret because you made the choice?
100%. 100%. And when I told my counsel that I was looking at relocating, he said, this is actually a great thing for you, because if you leave the state, it forces a restructure of the parenting plan. So we can get more stuff.
Okay.
I said, okay. But yes, to answer your question, if I ever find out or discover that there was something that happened in the home and I couldn't have prevented it, it will weigh on me until I die. Just recently, I found out that DCS was involved in their home because of the living conditions. And Of course, it was archived, and they didn't find any.
They never do.
And so it's something we're fighting in the courts right now. But my goal ultimately is to go back to Tennessee.
Okay.
I am trying to get back there as quickly as
That was my
possible.
next question because these
Yeah,
years right now for them is still very tender.
very.
And even though we do understand that kids don't stay kids forever, they cannot get their childhood back. And we know a lot of adults suffer from childhood trauma that ruins the rest of their adult lives and their adulthood, right?
Oh,
So
yes.
you a pretty good dad as far as I'm concerned. I can't tell by no other way from everything you've told us,
Yeah,
right? It,
you've been through a
one
lot.
of like top tier, right? So I know that this is it has to be something that is constantly on your mind, but I do understand your goal right now and the sacrifices that you're making. That does pretty much make sense because Tennessee is a shitty place to fight and battle in court for custody or anything else, and
Yep.
so I know
So
you're
Yeah.
just trying to do
so
your very best
what
with
are
it.
your goals with that? Are you planning on trying to get full custody back, or are you just going with the flow right now?
Despite what I've endured, I still believe that a mother's influence and a father's influence are important. So my goal is to finish my current master's, get back to Tennessee as soon as possible, and establish a co-parenting relationship on solid ground. I would like to be the primary custodial parent and allow them to go see her of whenever she wants. I've made several attempts, several offers of trying to find a happy medium. Um, but yes, I would like to go back, have the primary custodial
Well,
parent.
so let me ask you this. So why would you want to try to build a healthy co-parenting relationship with someone that that's causing your kids chaos? Because it's like you can't really reason with crazy, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And then the attempts on your life, like, so what makes you?
When is enough enough?
Yeah,
I know that you can't reason with crazy. Um, I don't know. It's something in my heart that says if I was able to have my kids full time and keep them safe and protected, 20 years from now, would they hold something against me because they didn't have a relationship with their mother? And I don't know what that relationship would look like, supervised visits or whatever it may be. But I have a feeling in my heart that if I was to swoop in and take over, it would be somewhat detrimental to them being cut off from their mother.
But why? Like, okay, so I guess when we think of this, because we're not thinking of them being cut off from their mother. We're just thinking of why are you trying to compromise with their mother? Because you could easily be in
Oh,
the same setting and parallel parent with her, and it doesn't have to be co-parent because that's unrealistic. This is somebody that doesn't want you to
yeah.
be
oh,
a part of
I've,
your kid's life, even probably on earth. So how do you frame your mind to even think that that's possible? It could be your faith. It could be just like you said in your heart, a feeling, and nothing is wrong with that. We're not against it. We just want to understand it because on our end, it's just something that we could never even attempt to think could be possible when you're
you're,
dealing with
yeah,
somebody that hates you
Oh yeah,
this
yeah.
bad.
that's super
When
hot
is it
topic.
gonna go away? Like,
And then
Um,
they're not even doing what's in the best
interest
interest
of the
of the
kids
kid.
still,
You
yeah,
know.
even with her having that custody, the kids are complaining that they're being treated a certain way. So she has basically everything she wants at this moment, and it's still not showing a good example of what a mom should be to them. So why would that change because you come back? It's gonna only get worse.
yeah. I'm sorry. I misunderstood your question. I went straight for like how my kids'
Okay.
relationship is formed.
Okay, yeah,
Asking
because
if,
we're not,
yeah,
we always know that it's best for kids to have both parents in their lives, whether
yeah,
the other parent is shitty or not, because we live it. We wouldn't want them. That's still their mom. But again, in terms of being your life and your way of doing
Yeah.
things and what your
Oh
goals for
yeah.
your kids. Like, it's no way you can combine that with her and co-parent.
Nope.
How?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Now that I understand it, and thank you for wording it that way. Yeah, no, there's zero chance in that anything would ever come positive of that. So it's going to be, strictly isolated, regulated. I know that there's no coming back from it, and I'm
Okay.
not trying. I'm not trying to change her. I'm not trying to change the situation. I just want to make the best of what I have.
Understood. Because
Yeah.
that would definitely be parallel parenting. There's no other way. Like, their
Right.
mom is their mom, and you're their dad, and you're gonna do everything in your power to be the best father that you can be. But that has nothing to do with what she's being as a mom, because you can't control that. There's nothing you can do
Correct.
about it.
So let me ask you this. You said they always give a slap on the wrist when you try to take her back to court. But for not following the order,
Right.
right? So have she ever been held in for any contempt of court before?
We've filed numerous contempt uh, issues against her, and every single time it's ma'am, this is how the judge said most recently, you're writing the playbook on how to lose your children, but that's as far as it goes. There's no 24 hours in jail, a fine, a fee. It's
Right,
all.
but if you, how many times has it been? Because if this is a judge that's on record saying these things, I mean, are they gonna say it 10 more times, or is it just a big inconvenience, financially and just time consuming to keep going back to court? Is it few and far between? Like, how often are
Oh,
these enforcements being done?
so we end up going to court on average 3 or 4 times a year for contempt issues. And the contempt issues, I don't know how her and her attorney wiggle their way around the loopholes, but it's kind of like, okay, well, we're contempt of this. We're never going to do that again. But now we're contempt of this other issue, and it's our first time. We're sorry.
Okay, okay. Now
So
it makes sense how they're slipping through the
yeah,
So
cracks,
so
because
so you never. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
I'm sorry, baby.
No, I the reason I'm asking, because we don't get men that can say that they are felonies
Exactly.
contempt. You are doing it, and so we're trying to find some type of pattern, or like what would be the basis for them to just keep giving her a slap on the wrist. But you're right. Knowing the legal system, even us going through it, it's like almost like if you get in trouble at work, right? Say you get a write up at work.
yeah,
Before, if you get a different type of write up, they're not supposed to, terminate you unless you did this one thing consistently or whatever. So that's what it is. She's finding the loopholes that she doesn't get held in contempt. So, because if you keep going back for different things, it makes the judge have a different point of view of what's causing her to do this different thing,
But
rather than seeing a pattern in her behavior
yeah.
that's the consistent same thing
yeah.
So that's the
of
problem. So
violating
that's the
or
problem that I have. So if the judge say, "All right, don't do this no more," is she not being fouled in contempt? Is they not fouling? Is they?
right. They're not holding her in contempt for that time, or
So what is
Uh,
it?
they've never held her in contempt of anything.
That's crazy.
yeah,
So
that's
like, what's the point of saying something if you're not going to hold her
right.
in contempt, especially if you proven that she's doing these things?
Yep. So
Right.
Because
that's my.
if she get held in a contempt, you could use that to modify.
Have you ever
Yep.
thought about striking faster?
Like going
Like
to the court faster.
like not yeah, like not waiting 6 months, or not waiting for her to do something else. Like, just
Yeah.
planning ahead. Like, okay, we know what to expect. She's gonna do this because it's a pattern. So now you documented it. Boom, boom, boom. She does it, and then you go. Then they give her a slap on the wrist, and then she does it again, and you go back in a sooner time frame than waiting months, because judges like to, they're cunning as well. Like, if it's this such a problem, then why did you let it go on for so long? Like, you damned if you do,
Right.
you damned if you don't, right? So I'm just trying to figure out where you are with it, in terms of, have you just said, the hell with it because they keep giving her a slap on the wrist, or are you trying to strategize better to say, maybe if we do it a different way, she may potentially be held in contempt?
So with that, I've exhausted every dime that I've ever made
Okay.
into going. So I hit those phases where I just don't have the capital to be able to do it. But
Makes sense.
in this most recent issue with the judge, which when I relocated to Colorado in January of 24, we didn't get a parenting plan until December of 24 because she found every loophole to postpone and postpone
And drag it out.
and
Yeah.
drag it out. So it was at that hearing that the judge said, you're writing a playbook on how to lose your kids. Here's exactly how this is going to go. And then he looked at me and he said, I want you to give this 3 months, annotate everything for 3 months and bring it back to me at that point in time. So I talked to my counsel. I was like, hey, look, it's day one and we're already contempt. And they said, well, the judge said we're going to
Three
wait three
months.
months and we're going to bring all of it together. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And it was 14 days after the court order was put in place that she filed a motion to change it.
Mm,
She
mm,
she
mm.
she did not like that the judge told her to put my daughter in horse riding lessons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it's unfortunate because this
Yeah,
is the thing that we are speaking of, that the behind the scenes of the turmoil of going back and forth to family
yeah,
court.
that's tough.
yeah,
It's so many stipulations, it's so many restarts, and it's just anguish. It's mental anguish. And so it makes sense why you would be delayed, or because if it's finances, because we learned that as well. That's
right,
lawyer talk. Lawyers will say, a way to win and key in and battle somebody is hitting them in their pockets. That's a real thing in the family court system. If you can bankrupt somebody, you won. If you can make somebody lose finances like to the point that they want to give up, then you already have the victory. And that's what happens a lot of times, because then you're like, okay, I can't even afford to go back. So it's just continuing on. And they know that. They know that they can
yeah,
play the game. And so
Yeah,
it's so
it's
unfortunate.
tough.
oh yeah.
So what is your plans for the future? Is to just move back and just try to get on a contempt or something like that, or
So right now we're fighting. We're doing this whole contempt thing.
I mean, you
Uh,
don't have to go into detail because I know that you
oh
you still active, so I don't want to blow
yeah,
your case.
Yeah.
no, no, no.
Yeah. Don't show your
So
hand.
my current goal is, I'm in charge of operations for a technology company. Uh, it's here in Colorado Springs. It's called Think. It's a really cool company, and my goal is to actually expand our company into the southern market and open up that area in Tennessee. My parents own a plant business in Tennessee, kind of near where my kids live. So the other option is my father's getting up in age. He's going to want to sell his business, and I might take it over for him. So my ultimate goal is to continue to generate wealth, my education, grow as a man, and relocate there and be that man that they need. So I'm looking at, it's probably going to take about 2 to 3 years to piece all that
Okay.
together.
Okay.
Fair enough.
And then I have do you have any other questions?
Yeah, the $1 million question that we didn't ask.
Oh yeah. We
Yeah.
got
So who's
who's
the
the
deadbeat?
deadbeat?
I believe that their mother, their mom, you know what? I'll say with confidence, their mom's the deadbeat.
That's what I'm talking about. Say it with your chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
It makes sense. I mean, um,
Man, that's
we're
sad.
rooting for you, but one thing I can say for you to have the background and everything that you've shared with us today, it seems like you do have a plan, and that's very strong. That's very motivating, right? At least you have some type of basis of what you want the future to look for your kids and you as well. You have the plan, so I think that that's a great way to continue with all the
Yes.
other things, because sometimes we do get caught up in the chaotic part of things and the things that we can't control. And so that's motivating and inspiring on its own to see that you are going in a direction that's still gonna be good and great for the kids. regardless of what you've been through and what's going on today. And so I think that that's very admirable. Alongside of you serving the country, right? All of these things, they paint men in such a bad light, and that's why we do what we do, just to have people speak and show the proof and show the receipts and let people know I'm not the average guy. This is not for every guy. Every guy is not a deadbeat. Every guy is not, a detriment to their children's lives. You're the benefit, and that's the thing. The mom is the one that's not doing her part. And so we want to encourage people to come up and tell their side of things. And maybe, just maybe, we can reach the other side to just let them know the damage that they're doing and causing is really pretty much irrelevant because you're only hurting the kids. You're hurting the kids.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
so let me ask you this: if you could do it, anything over, what would that be?
Um, I would not have mediated the original divorce. I would have allowed it to go to trial and get that evidence hard locked into the court system earlier on.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That would have definitely given you a stronger head start
Yes.
because we know
Yeah.
that mediating, mm-mm. Like
Yeah.
it's just a way of saying kick me in the ass later because they can always just come back and do
Let
whatever
me
they
tell
want.
let me tell you this. I mediated and we came to agreement. And 2 hours later, my lawyer was calling me saying she was saying that she didn't want to
Continue.
continue with.
And she made a mistake.
What?
2 hours after the mediation ended, I'm talking about signatures were not even dry.
Yes.
And she said,
What?
she changed her mind. She was under pressure. She don't know what she was
Oh,
thinking. Two
Yeah.
hours
oh
later.
man.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but by far, man, we rooting for you, man, and I just hope that you get those kids, man, because it seemed like you're a good dad, you're a good person. Um, and I just hope you just continue to do the right thing, man, that you need to do for your kids because they need you, man.
Thank you. It's hard. It's hard to hear that kind of stuff. But thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's real, and we want to know. Keep us posted. Reach out to us. We that's why we do this because we have each other, and it's still hard. It's still hard because those kids, when you look in them little faces and you see behind their eyes, and you're trying to fix and do damage control and just keep pushing, who do you have that's checking for you and to make sure that you are okay and to let you know that you're doing a great job
I'm
and
talking about somebody that really understand, though.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know,
We get it, we live it, we breathe it. Everybody's story is tailored their own way, but parental alienation is parental alienation.
yeah,
That's the stuff that is not going to change. Our cases may not be one size fit all, but it parental alienation is bad. It's a major
It's
problem that's destroying families, it's
yeah,
destroying people, it's destroying these kids. It's just something that we stand against so strong, that this is why we do this. So
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Thank you for doing it. I've had since I put stuff on TikTok. I've had about 400 fathers send me messages with their stories, and they're fearful to post their videos because of
Yes,
retribution. But you know, just seeing that I'm not alone, and then seeing the work that you guys have done and that you continue to do, it's one of those things like, hey, I can make it another day.
oh
Really.
yeah,
yes.
that's
So
our whole
thank
Yes.
you.
goal.
And send them over. Tell them we'll post their videos. We'll speak for them. We'll be
Yeah,
that
because
voice
we
that
we
they
ready
can't.
for all of it.
Yeah,
We
I will
prepared.
definitely. I'll go on a massive messaging block tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because
So
we are on TikTok. I mean, we're across every platform. We're really trying to get people to understand what this thing is, so more people can know that they are not alone. And yeah, it's just a community. We're here to support you guys, and that's what it's all about. And so,
And
thank
bigger,
you so
bigger
much.
things coming soon. But
Yeah.
I got one more question because he just said that. You said fathers are scared. So what made you want to tell your story
Yeah,
and
on the
come on
platform.
this platform?
Good one.
Uh,
Good question.
After I got that parenting plan, and then a couple days later, I got a motion to modify the whole thing. I sat there and I said, "What do I have? What else do I have to lose? I have nothing else to lose. She has taken everything from me. I I don't, my child support continues to go up. I don't get to see my kids. I'm alienated from their life. What's the worst thing that could happen? What else could you take?" And so I
Exactly.
just sat there and I'm going to put it out there for the world to see. And
Right.
I expected a lot of negativity, and of course there is some, but the
Of
Yeah.
amount
course,
of
comes with the
fathers,
territory.
yeah,
It could be worse
uh,
than what you've already been through, right?
Okay.
If you
yeah,
survive that, this is cookies and cake.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it was the fathers though that when they reached out to me and they were just like, "I've seen this. I'm going through the same thing. You're not alone. I've got videos." That's where I was like, "All right, there's an impact. We can do something with this."
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
So,
yes,
So
yes.
continue to doing the work, and hopefully we could probably do some community work in the future.
yes,
Yeah,
please.
Yeah.
yes, we would. We all of our followers and people that are part of the community, we encourage them to keep us updated on everything. Your court cases, even the small losses, because we count it all as joy, right? You're headed towards a goal, and we have a goal as well. And so we just want you guys to know you're still a part of it. You're still in the fight. You're in it with us. Your kids are still without you, right? They're not receiving the adequate support from their parent that they should have. And so this is an ongoing thing. It's an uphill battle, right? It's not something that is happening overnight. So yeah, that's what this is all about. So thank you for sharing and being
Yeah.
so transparent with us.
And keep up the great
Um,
work,
and
man.
yeah, one of the good ones. Like, we
Yeah.
get some men up here and we're like,
Yeah. But
you
you
really
a prime example of, because they always say you should have chose better. You should have did this better, but you did.
what could he have done
You
better?
did. You picked a woman. Yeah, yeah. Y'all had a baby, or you did. So you went to counseling. Like, you did everything to mentally to see if this was the right one, and then
Yeah.
chaos. So that just take that out the window and just how how you didn't choose better at that point. Like, so it
Yeah.
is what it is, man.
What more can you do?
Exactly.
What more
Like,
can you do?
but man, you a great guy, man. We appreciate you, man, and we just pray that you know
You reach those
you reach
goals. You
those
get your
goals.
kids back,
Yeah,
because custodial parents are the parents that kids, get most of their parenting from, right?
yes,
And you would want
Yes.
them to be with the best fit and the one that has their best interest at heart, not the one that's just doing it for personal gain or their own selfish
yeah.
reasons. And so
I just
I
feel
think I think it's gonna be a great outcome. I see the fight in you, and you are planning to expand and do things. I know that court can bankrupt you and
yeah, it's tough.
ruin your finances. So
It's tough,
that makes
but
sense why you haven't continued.
it'll happen. One thing for sure, the women that alienate and stuff, they never gonna stop.
That's
And
right.
hint, hint, you got to start setting traps. You know they're gonna bite every time. Just start setting traps. You know what? I think all our phone calls should be recorded now.
Yeah.
Yeah, parenting apps, parenting
Yeah,
plans. It's a lot of ways to be strategic,
yeah.
but
Just hit me in the inbox, and
yeah,
I
not
can
to
give
be
you.
long winded,
Yeah,
but yeah,
we can
it's.
give you a few tricks.
I
Yeah.
think you're gonna be at the top of the list for us to want to know.
Yeah,
Did we get her yet? Like, what's going on with
yeah.
this?
But
So
yeah, we
look
appreciate you.
for something soon from
Yeah.
us to just keep us updated with what's going on.
All right,
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
Yeah.
you
all right.
so
Thank you.
much. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Enjoy the rest
All
of your
right.
evening.
Mm-hmm.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh God, it's just you think that you've heard the
Man,
worst, and
that
then
was.
it happens, and you hear more, and you hear more, and so
Man, he said a random
If
person tried to run him off the road.
if anybody could endure what this man just explained to us, it's no reason why a woman can just keep your kid from you and you do
Yeah,
nothing.
a man should
Like,
always fight.
people are risking their lives for their children, being targeted, being just put in positions that no human being could ever imagine, and they still choose their children. So, what is
Yeah.
your reason for not choosing yours?
And I get it. Some men, you do go through hardship, and or you go through something mentally where you have to pull out. And I don't knock that. Every man should want to take a break from time to time. But to say that you're not gonna fight for your kid, I can't respect that, because I feel like that's a selfish act. I'll just wait till they get 18, but you don't know that what these kids are going through in that home. You don't know what your kid is going through mentally. So why would you even want to wait for something like that? Y'all got to get out here. Y'all got to start moving, and y'all got to start being doers, because these kids need you. And I don't care if you do only get a supervised visitation. That's a start. They need you. You are a part of them. So man, y'all got to get to it, man.
And to all the people that want to leave nasty comments, these stereotypical biased comments about me being a wife backing my husband, you damn right. I'm gonna back him all the way until I can't back him no more. But with this don't even have nothing to do with my husband. I'm a stepmother. I live this every day with this man. I witnessed it. You don't even understand. But the reality is, this is not a platform to bash women, and definitely not a platform to bash black women, because I'm a black woman. So how would that look? We love, both of us love our culture, our, heritage, where we come from, all of that. That has nothing to do with that. And the guest that we just interviewed was not black. So what do you have to say to that?
Yeah.
What do you have to say to
I
that?
think the problem is why they don't like women that stand up or stand behind their man, because a lot of these women play games. Just like men play games that women don't know about, women play a lot of games that men don't know
I
about.
know the
But
games.
when you have a woman that's standing beside a man telling him like, nah,
Oh,
watch
I'm
that.
breaking the girl code.
Yeah,
Let me say this, and before we end this,
girl
I'm
code.
not breaking no code, because, honey, if you choose to be a bitter bitch, we are not
We
the same. It's no code. It's no alliance. I'm not I don't stand by anything that I don't believe in. And one thing I don't believe in is anybody using a child to their own advantage to get back at the other parent for their own selfish, stupid reasons. So no, if I'm breaking girl code, then so be it. This my best friend anyway.
holla. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend. Hey, when y'all see this, man, just know that Philly won the Super Bowl already. No, I'm just playing. No, but thank y'all, man, for supporting us. Just make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. And
See you next time.
yes, sir.